guys, are you curious what is the next character avatar type that we're getting in Hello Kitty Island Adventure? Or what is the next quality of life updates that will come with the flowers? We are talking about all of this right now for Hello Kitty Island Adventure. First of all, let's talk about the news coming from Hello Kitty in general. A movie is in the works. Apparently they've been working on it since 2019 and it's gonna release very precisely on the 24th of July 2028. So I'm so surprised that in more than 2 years they have a day already. So that's interesting. But I guess we'll be there on the 21st of July in 2028. And also 2 things that I did not mention in the past. You can now go remove your hat from the menu. Before you could only add a hat, change a hat, but not remove it from the menu. I guess it works also for the backpack. And you only had to go in the mirror. I'm not sure yet if it's available on all platforms, and if it's not the case, you'll have to wait until CO4 in December. And we have now another weekly quest that is from CD Down, so obviously that is only on Apple Arcade for now until other platforms get CD Down in the Q2 of 2026. But usually you must do 25 of one specific recipe in the Imagination Cafe. There's a new spoiler chat for 2.11 that's called Boutique Chic. Does that mean that we're having more shops in City Town? Now in 2.11 for Apple Arcade next week, and that means that it will be in CO4 in December for all other platforms. We'll have a new avatar type and it's been teased. So the first thing that we see is the patterns that you can put on the avatar. Then we have just one eye, and the next day Swampy shared the full thing of one of the shape, because there's usually many, and it's actually a frog or toad. And actually Swampy turned the eye to look like maybe more like a cat rather than a frog or a toad, so that's very interesting. So are you guys excited for frogs or toads? I'm super excited to see what the other shapes of the animals are. Do we get like 4 or 6? We'll see. Now let's go to Discord. Wizard asks, how far in advance is the event planning, etc.? Kieran from Design said, it can depend on the event, but work is usually fully wrapped up no less than 2 months before the event start date. In an announcement, we have now Hello Kitty Island Intro, which is a free demo version of Hello Kitty Island Adventure. So far, it's only available in Apple Arcade for free. You actually do not need Apple Arcade, but on iOS you can get this for free, and it's only up until you open the gates. And it's only for specific markets: US, Korea, Mexico, and Australia. And so there's no info about if in the future you'll get a free demo in Steam or in Switch, so I cannot tell, but maybe in the future that will be the case. Welcoming new community mods. Apparently there are new community mods helping with moderating chats, answering questions, making sure the server stay a great place for everyone. So be sure to say hi when you see them around. So this is for the Discord. Now get swept into fall. Gather around for Keropi's Tale and celebrate the season with woodland furniture and cozy costume. Join us for the Days of Plenty. Your autumn adventure is about to unfold. Days of Plenty runs from November 3rd until November 18th, 2025. Hop into the leaves before it's too late. So this is the thing for the Days of Plenty new event that you've seen in all platforms. Now, as Ami said, Sunblink Mail is almost always a way of communication for the devs, and they also use it to send us gifts like extra event currency. It's common to get some extra near the end of an event. With Interlude of Dreams in particular, the currency was quite sparse to begin with, so it helped a lot. And Swampy said, yes, hopefully the mails are something cute and inspiring for you to look forward to. Maybe I can start to incorporate some quest-based mails in the future though. I'm wondering what Swampy means by that, quest mail. Like questions about the quest, items for the quest? I'm not sure. Interesting. something. Swampy started something called #TinyWinsTuesday. Hi friends, happy Tuesday. Share your wins of the week, big or small. Did you discover a new majestic flower or max a friendship? Drop it below in this thread so we can all celebrate together. Every victory counts. This event will happen potentially bi-weekly or monthly. Thanks all for the love and support. So this is a cool thing to do just in the Discord. Chelsea said, heads up everyone, there's a new channel where mods and wranglers will be linking some of the responses from the devs that have happened in various threads, feedbacks, bug reports, and other channels. Use it to keep an eye on information you might have missed, and it's dev response tracker. So if you don't want to watch my videos where I'm doing this for you or go through all the channels, you can just go here and look at what I said. And in another heads up, after a lot of feedback and mod mail, we decided to split up several channels by platform once again. This work will be happening over the next 2 weeks. If you have stuff switching around, we appreciate your patience. And now there's tons of new channels that are popping up. So if you want to answer to that, for example, like character request, let us know what characters you'd like to see in the game. Like clothing request, let us know what clothing and outfits you'd like to see in games. Like avatar request, let us know what species of avatars you'd like to see in game. Food request, let us know what kind of food you'd like to see in game. So we have the result of the October Flower Challenge for the 33, 34, 35, and 36 flowers, and right after that they have given the November Flower Challenge with 4 more things that look less and less like flowers. So maybe one of them is a flower, one of them looks like maybe a mushroom, maybe it's a flower, I don't know, a bow, and Hello Kitty. So we need to be creative again. Last month I think I only submitted 2 because I was not able to do any of the other ones. I'll try to do that in my live stream today. Nay said, Chelsea, would it be possible at all to make so that the event flowers can be planted in the extremophile locations? Eggs, bows, etc. could continue to spawn in those extreme locations outside of their event. The minimal plot still makes them exclusive. And Chelsea said the greenhouse extremophile update should help this. It will be part of the free content updates since it's associated with the greenhouse, but it won't be out in CU4. So that means that it will not come out on 2.11 either. And clarification on what you have to have done with the extremophiles to plant them in the greenhouse when it comes. I believe it's pattern acquisition and color transfer, but not pattern transfer. Okay, I was stressing out. So basically you could have gotten the pattern for that flower, so just by fertilizing and then getting maybe all the colors. I don't know if they can do that, but different colors of that, so acquiring other colors, but not having something like iridescent on a frost feather, for example. Because I've not been able to, guys. Have you been able to do that? I have not been successful. I've seen people having transferred the pattern of the extremophile to the event flowers, which I have not been able to either. No, I have no success with the extremophiles so far. Chelsea said, flowers are definitely the thing I do first in game, but there's a ton to manage right now and I don't want folks to burn out. Anytime I try to think of ways to do better mass flower management though, I get stumped. The only thought I've had seems like a technical impossibility, but it would be some sort of virtual flower patch access menu where you could just quickly tap to go from patch to patch to patch. It's still so much to manage though. I thought about some sort of more granular interactions between one plot and all plots, like the ability to do something in a straight lines or in a 9 square for merry-go-round setup. I do all of my hybrid breeding in straight lines, but it would help me to be like, travel all this line, but I don't know if something like that would help other folks. There was a lot of mental math I was trying to do yesterday. Is it faster to clear 66% of the plot by hand or mass clear it and replant 33 by hand? But replant definitely takes way longer, so I wound up hand traveling the 66%. That's good to know, it'd be helpful though, probably means it's worth chatting with UX and seeing if they have ideas. And Meave said, maybe the patch-to-patch feature could be a function in the master control room. And Chelsea said, the ultimate top hat plus Wish Me Mail mashup. Peachy Got It said, I think it'd be cool to have something like a chest we can put a couple of sprouts or seed into, and every 2 days we can open the chest and it gives us plucked flowers as if we planted them in a plot. That way I could get enough pink cosmic moon flowers for a flower crown without using the space in the plot that I could be using for color transfer. And Chelsea said, oh, that's really interesting. That way you never have to use plots for duplication. Colike said, the Wheatflour Wonderland have helped me so much. The size and shape seems easier to manage than 5 to 6 smaller plots. And Chelsea said, yes, the goal was to have the Wheatflour Wonderland be a gardener's dream, at least with the patches. So I'm glad it worked. I just know that it added 4 more patches and tons of new plot actions to do each day. At least on my side, I've basically given up on all patches beside Wheatflour Wonderland, Greenhouse, Merry Meadow, and Extremophiles. But I know some folks want to be able to do all patches every day. In my case, I'm doing Extremophiles, Wheatflour Wonderland because the new things are here, and my greenhouse, and I think the rest is nothing yet. And then she said, oh, and I'm also working with UX to figure out how we can uncap the acceleration on hold to add. I had 6k white bell buttons and literally gave up after a few minutes of trying to compose them all. By the way, when she means UX is user experience, and it's the team that works on not only the interface but also the ways that the user work through the interface and not just what is displayed, which is the UI, the user interface. Now here's what she said. Here's what I've got. Uncapped acceleration on tap to add. Investigate a way to quickly swap or travel between patches. Investigate line action for plants, travel, etc. Investigate filtering for secondary color. Investigate a feature that turns seeds to plucked flowers. More easily get duplicates so that patches space is freed up for transfer in hybrids. Selected flower shows description somewhere in HUD. Could be a toggleable settings. HUD is a heads-up display, so an interface somewhere on your screen. And about this thing to show what the flower you're looking at is, Chelsea said, I forgot what UX said last time I brought it up. I think it was that figuring out how to dynamically have it appear on the left or the right based on your proximity to screen edge is actually surprisingly complex because of all the different devices screen ratios. But that mockup actually has it appearing in the HUD, which might be a good way to resolve that. And then she said, get the patch into the state you want it with. Planted or planted, and it's like, if planted, dig up every day. If it will generate something, don't do it if it will be deleted. But do you think it would be super difficult to know, oh hey, I've got XY hybrid. I wonder what patch had the setup for that. Or should we just accept that a potential outcome and the UX gains are for it? And then Sprout said, if new flower I had never had before, show me/tag it or put it in a special place and maybe tell me where it's from. And Chelsea said, yeah, I think this is a must. Like now we have a blue dot over the things you never had in your inventory. For example, if you have 0 of one furniture because you put it in a cabin, or if you have 0 of that furniture because you actually never bought it. So you have a display now. The issue with some of the flowers tracking is that to have a record of every flower type with every pattern with every possible color combo actually significantly bloats the save data. There have been a few things when engineers just have been like, yeah, no, to request for similar things, but I can try and get more details. Admittedly, this is low in the queue compared to some other things, though, so no promise on anything speedy. QJ said, Chelsea, is there any chance that you'll be able to increase Ball Blossom spawns and pattern transfer rates during Hello Kitty's birthday, since it's a shorter window of time? Since the event has to be shorter, I feel like increasing those rates could be a good way of balancing things out. And Chelsea said, no changes to events can be made, as that would require a patch, and not only can we not submit patches on some platforms right now, Switch is still blocked behind the Switch 2 thing, but the minimum time to get patch approved is 10 business days, and the event is only lasting 7 days. So usually for things like missing event currency and things like that, they can do a Sunblink mail, but for flowers we know that they cannot, unfortunately, like for the black flowers. And then Peachy Got It said, not to mention there's a bunch of other bugs fixes that still need patches too. And Chelsea said, yes, the queue is mighty. Lozopro said, Chelsea, just out of interest, says, how do you guys decide if an event is primary or secondary? It seems to me that the birthday of Hello Kitty is a big thing, so just wondering why that's a secondary event, and how do you decide which event gets more currency, or is it random? And Chelsea said, usually it has to do with duration and importance. Our primary events are usually about 5-week longs and cover broader themes, whereas our secondary events are shorter, 1 to 2 weeks, and a bit more specific. Last year though, Hello Kitty's 50th was technically secondary since it overlapped with 2 primaries, and we can't have primaries going at the same time. And then there were confusions about the overlap of Interludes of Dream and 50th anniversary. I think part of it for me was that when they said Interlude of Dreams would be replacing the Hello Kitty's 50th anniversary event, that it would encompassing all of the 50th anniversary event, while it makes sense that some stuff was moved to Hello Kitty birthday week. I wish it could have been clarified before the event started. And Chelsea said, this is what I thought. I think the Sanrio stuff came up a bit late, and it might have happened while I was out of office. And it definitely happened while our marketing director, who handles a lot of the Sanrio comms, was out. Since they're gearing back up again, fewer things like this should fall through the cracks. Ava said, suggesting that the team look at where everyone can be more prepared next time. It feels a bit unorganized personally. And Chelsea said, yes, it was very hard for us to take on their work while they were out. We did the best we could, but definitely less organized than we'd like. Kate Roma said, as you can see on the page, the collection is incomplete, and there are 2 different kinds of wands that we see here that also have not finished. And Phoebe said, this wand will be removed from collections. It isn't supposed to be there. Chelsea said, fun fact, that wand was Kogimyun's original 3-heart gift before we redesigned it. But it should not be here and they will remove it. Someone asked why my gemstone doesn't respawn here and selects the second tier of Wheatflour Wonderland. And Chelsea said, since gemstones can't be collected by best friends, we wanted to minimize the places folks will have to go/look each day for gemstones. While we put a lot of one-time spawns all over the map, only the floating gemstones around the Citadel area respawn daily. So if you see the gemstone standing up and moving, these will be the ones that will come back daily, and they also will accrue up to 3 days if you don't go. And I have a full video where actually I show you the best route to get them all under 2 minutes, and the ones that are flat on the ground will be all around, but you will only pick up once, and that's just some free for you. However said, those chests did not appear for someone who doesn't have the creation station unlocked. However, there were spinel gemstones inside of them instead. I'm currently trying to figure out this mystery myself. And Chelsea said, yes, it branches depending on whether you already have the creation station or not. If you have the creation station already, the chest will have instructions. If you don't have the creation station, the chest will have gemstones, and instructions will be distributed when you get the creation station. Now there's a story time. Chelsea said, dev story time. Melody number 3 in the Bell Garden was supposed to be the easiest one to discover. You just run through all of the arches in order. When I was writing up the answer key, my super simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there's the issue. My keyboard is not 100%. I bought myself that snazzy pastel rainbow 20th anniversary cinema roll keyboard, and I drink chai a lot and definitely spilled some chai on my keyboard and definitely got into some like one of the number keys, especially the 8. And ever since my 8 has been a little bit sticky. So I actually typed those numbers into the answer key that was actually came out is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. No one on the team thought to be like, oh, Chelsea, did you mean to have 2 8s in a row? Because for better and for worse, the team sometimes assumes I just have a plan. Surely the double 8s means something. Surely there's some clue that makes it make sense. Surely it's part of the planned melody progression. Spoiler alert, it was not. And because someone in the beta naturally ran through all the arches and ended back through all of the arches, they quickly unlocked number 3, so I assumed everything was right as rain. And it wasn't until the DLC launched that the true nuance became clear, and I did possibly the biggest facepalm of all time, and my 8 key is still sticky. This is so funny. I love it so much. I also drink a lot of chai. I like having that in common with her Chelsea, but this is so funny. and this is what we'll leave you with. So there's no big drama this week. Yay, that's amazing. A lot of insights of cool things maybe coming up in the future for flowers. I like that Chelsea is very into flowers because she is pushing for more things for flower people, and that maybe the general team will not be doing in general. That's amazing. So if you missed my other news reviews from Hello Kitty Island Adventure, I will put them all here so you'll know what is in the works and what is the answer of the devs to the specific issues that you may have. So I will see you there, and remember, everybody can play cozy. Bye bye!